Hello, and welcome. Today we are going through all of the previous Idaho readings and putting them into direction, north, south, east, west, northeast, southeast, all of that. So I finished recording this video in completion, and I'm having a little problem. My problem is this. I went back into here. Okay, so this is where I have all the different clips of this video. And as you can see, this first one down here still says loading after 6 hours, but like this one is done after 5 hours, 5 hours done. And this one's 19 minutes, this one's 13 minutes. So like this one's 18, it's already done. So anyway, what I'm saying is there's some kind of corrupted file with this one. I don't know what's going on. I emailed the company. It's kind of hard to re-record something like this. But this is what I'm getting, which is nothing. See, you can see it like is not all the way finished yet, but it's stuck. I don't know what to do. So I'm going to redo the intro of this. This first clip brought us up to the 8th video. So I am not going to have video of me rolling the die for the first 8 of these. I'm still going to go through where they went and all of that, like where the pieces of the puzzle went. This is not how I wanted to start this video. I'm very frustrated, but there's literally nothing I can do because as you can see, it just is not going the rest of the way. So redoing the intro for this video. Hello. We're going to go back through the previous Idaho videos and be putting them into place. How this came to be is that all of my previous Idaho readings, I had my assistant go through and make me these little spreadsheets, which are available to you in the Dropbox file. From all of these, which is this whole folder here, all of that. From all of these, I've created this sheet on the right. This is like the most important pieces that were in here. It's not everything that was in here, but it's the most important pieces, essentially the pieces that feel like puzzle pieces that put the bigger picture together. Again, all of this is available in the Dropbox link, which if you go to my link tree, it is the very last link at the bottom. It says Idaho Investigative Tarot, I believe, or something like that. And everything is available. This will also be available. So yeah, I put everything in this list on the right, and then we roll the directional die, north, south, east, west, northeast, southeast, all of that, and figure out which group it goes into. This reading is going to be in 3 parts. This part that we have done, and this part that we're doing now is going to essentially just be putting this part from the right into this part from the left. The next piece of this video is going to be analyzing each thing within each category with tarot energy reading. So essentially we'll go into north and we'll look at all the pieces that are together in north and use tarot to figure out how they connect and what they have to do with one another. The third part of this video will be connecting like north to south, which is essentially putting the whole puzzle together. I'm trying to think of how to do this because essentially now I'm cut off till here. So 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. They're already in place over here. There was a 19-minute video that again just doesn't want to do it. But all the other ones are done, and I know you guys really want this video, so I don't want to wait until tomorrow and just hope that it finishes uploading because it's just not looking good. I don't know what's going on. This is the first video that I recorded on this site, so maybe it's some kind of glitch, I don't know. But anyway, so this is the new beginning of this video. I'm not really sure how I can go back through and tell you where all these went because I'm just going to do that at the end anyway. So, and I can't re-roll or anything like that. Like energy reading, once it's done, it's done. You can't redo it. It's not like I can refilm it or anything. So I'm going to now skip back to the end of the video again, and I'm going to read you through everything. But obviously, you guys are going into the essentially, you're going to be starting now, after this clip that I'm in right now. It's going to start at video 8, but the first video, part 5, 4, 2, and 1 are already in place, but you're not going to be seeing the dice roll because that is what is in this not loaded video. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, bye. Okay, so going into video 8, which was recorded on 12/10. Wait, we already did this part. Okay, so someone is, oh, this was southeast. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to put this in southeast. That's right, it wasn't working. Okay. Alrighty. All right, so now we have Ethan and Xana say surviving roommates are not telling the whole truth. Ethan and Xana say a ball was dropped. Southeast as well. M and K say someone is protecting the surviving roommate or roommates. Northeast. Someone is going to talk to police, a woman, and by talk to police, I meant give some kind of information. West. Huh. All right, so moving to part 9, which was 12:15. It says there is or will be some kind of distraction, and that's east. Video or part 10, which was 12:15 as well. Something happened around closing time that night at the bar, southeast. One second, sorry. Okay, video or part 12, which was also 12:15. So the first two that I just said, 9 and 10, were just like very short little like to clear something up videos, and then this was an actual video. Part 12, killer had a trigger from a feminine energy soon before the murders. Killer felt limited and something was affecting his mind. South. And now we know everything about school and everything like that for Brian. So that could be what that was referring to. Killer was brushed off before murders and it was a major trigger for him. People made him feel unimportant. I feel like that goes hand in hand with this. So I'm just going to add it in as one. Okay. Killer kept hitting dead end after dead end. I think that that also goes in with that same part. Killer had someone in his ear hyping him up. Northwest. All right, part 13, which was on 12/17. Police are trying to prove that the killer was not with their phone at some point. Person in one place, phone in another. Northwest. Police are zeroing in on someone who is covering up for something in some way. Northeast. So in Northeast, we have Maddie and Kaylee say someone is protecting the surviving roommates, and the police are zeroing in on someone who is covering up for someone or something in some way. Police are making a move soon, which this was 12/17, and Brian was arrested on the 30th. I don't think that's necessarily a puzzle piece, but good to know. Part 14, which was 12/17/22, killer felt there was no other way and that this had to be done. South. Parents' weekend was a trigger for the killer. I don't think that's a puzzle piece, but I do believe it's accurate. Part 15, which was 12/19, Maddie told Adam something that involved a third party. And by that, I mean it wasn't something about Maddie and Adam. It wasn't like, hey, this is going on with us. It was something about a different person. Southwest. Adam spoke to someone else about the convo he had with Maddie that night, and that info was then passed on to others. Southeast. Oh, it only highlighted convo. There we go. That's why. Santa says Madison was trying to avert disaster by her conversation with Adam. Maddie was worried about something or had an inkling about something. North. Okay, moving on to part 16. What made this happen? I don't know why my computer is being so slow today. There we go. One of the two girls, Kaylee or Maddie. Actually, I do want to use that. Something one of the girls was dealing with caused this to happen. It had been building up in tension for some time. Southwest. The knife is in the water, secured so it can't float away. I want to go back to that, but not use it as a puzzle piece. Out around the girls that night, earlier in the night. South. The killer was with someone else. Something around the murders being done. There's something going on around the murders that's being done for stimulation or to cure boredom. This is like a background energy of the case. West. Killer has a connection to drugs. And again, this is on 12/23, so before we knew it was Brian. Killer wasn't with his phone or poke holes in someone's whereabouts. Someone. Southwest. They are close to finding the right person. East. The killer was watching them, as in the victims, which is something that we know now. I'm not going to use that as a puzzle piece, though. The killer entered through the sliding glass door. I'm going to come back to that. Essentially, the ones that I'm making yellow, stage, just how we had like north, south, east, west, all them. And then we're also going to readdress them in the next one. The conversation with Adam has something to do with the murders. South. Someone felt hesitant. Southwest. There is some kind of privilege here with the killer. Okay, so part 18, which was 1228. Hannah walked into something she wasn't supposed to see around 3 weeks before her death. West. Blonde hair. South. Whatever Hannah took misled her in some way in an attempt to ruin her credibility with her family. On the night of the murder, someone talked about something and she did anyway. northeast. I don't know why my internet is being so slow today, but that's what's happening. So, somebody is pulling some strings somewhere along the lines. Northwest. Okay, I'm gonna put this one in and then I'm gonna try and restart my computer because so video 26 on 1-4, something financial came out of the cross-country trip or a favor that was owed. We already put that in. On the trip, someone else was brought in on a long-term plan for Brian through phone communication. There's a person who has something to prove that will end up being involved on Brian's behalf. I believe this to be his current lawyer, especially because she's had interactions with with some of the victims' family members. Northeast. Video 20 or part 27 on 1-8. Someone at Sigma Chi someone at Sigma Chi put something in Ethan's drink that night. It wasn't narcotics. We already did something similar to that. Brian had an accomplice at the bar with K&M that night. This person had a drink but wasn't drinking it and told Brian when the girls left. Southwest. It wasn't Brian who turned his phone off at 2:47 a.m. on the night of the murders. I'm going to yellow this to go back. Dylan thought Ethan and Xana were having couple drama the first time she opened the door. Second time, she thought it was Ethan talking to Xana. Dylan was not in shock. She was under the influence of what I believe to be the substance Molly. It's a psychedelic that alters your reality. And this would explain why her emotions don't match her actions. Southeast. Part 28 on 112. During the murders, one male was in control of what was going down and one was grounded in place somewhere else also involved. I believe this to be the person who was driving the car. Northeast. Brian did not move his car. Someone else brought his car to King Road. Brian waited outside in the woods watching the house before going in. Killer was waiting for the lights to go off in the house. Something delayed this attack being able to begin. It was supposed to happen earlier, or it ended up taking longer than expected or planned. Northwest. Whoever had Brian's car was driving around the block waiting for him, and that had something to do with that delay we just mentioned. Brian was not planning to attack Ethan and Xana. Brian took the long way back to his apartment because he had some kind of meeting spot with someone else on that route. South. Brian saw someone awake in the house or lights on or turning on and off the next morning when he returned to the scene. I think I'm going to make that yellow for now so we can address it again. Brian's accomplice had something traumatic happen to them in their life. They feel wronged by life or society. Northeast. Brian is protected in some way by someone with power or authority or connected to the criminal justice system. Southeast. Brian's mentor's motivation for being involved is revenge or creating a blueprint to enact revenge on a certain group of people. I'm gonna make that yellow. Brian purchased something for digging and some kind of marker to mark the location of something. The knife is not with the rest of the evidence. There is blood on the knife from Brian. Brian's accomplice has privilege, protection, or access to information that they shouldn't have and believes that they are still going to get away with their role in this. Southwest. I'm going to just highlight this part. I used the serial killer cards for this particular reading, and the cards that came out was Charles Ray Hatcher and Orville Lynn Majors. So that was representing the Brian and the person I believe who moved or drove his car. We're going to go back to that. Brian's mentor in this has a decade or more of experience and knowledge. I'm going to yellow that. Something made it so that Ethan was not able to fight back fully. We have something similar to that already. Someone had convinced Brian if he gets arrested, it won't stick, or that they would be able to get him out eventually. I'm going to make that yellow for now. Clothes were burned. Knife is in a non-working power plant with a river that winds through in a unique way. I'm going to yellow that as well. Anything with the location of the knife, I'm going to yellow. And then after I get all the yellows together, I'm hoping it will kind of point to one general location, and then we can look around in that energy. Someone who is helping Brian in some way lives in the southeast direction of King Road. Northwest. All right, video or part 29 on 113. There was someone in the house before Brian entered, but that someone was invited or welcomed or was supposed to be there. So essentially what I mean by that is within an hour before Brian entered the house, someone else had been in the house that was not a roommate. But that person was known to, it wasn't that they were hiding, it was that they were known to be there. North. Oh, that's what I wrote. When this person left is around the time that Brian entered. I'm going to gray that out. Brian took the dog in a room or shut the dog in a room that the dog was already in. Bethany and Dylan were together in the same room when the killer originally entered the home. Dylan is disconnected from her higher guidance. This is, I believe, when I came to the conclusion that I feel what she was on was Molly. I'm going to gray that out. There was a choice that normally wouldn't have been made. There is a choice that Bethany normally wouldn't have been okay with or normally wouldn't have made that she was convinced to make that night in some way. Northeast. Distribution of substances taking place in and from the house that night. South. Something was being passed around, possibly a phone, passed around between two people, two opposing forces working together toward a goal, but didn't know that they were working together, and that is what helped make the murders possible. Southeast. There's a person pulling the strings behind the scenes. East. Someone was using someone else's good nature against them. I honestly believe that to be Bethany, but it could also be other people, but I'm going to gray that out because it's not really a puzzle piece. Someone was putting themselves in a situation in order to get access or information, but was getting tired of doing it, but they still couldn't stop. So someone was invading the girl's privacy, getting access to something they shouldn't have had access to because it wasn't their information, and they were passing it along to someone else. They had been doing this and then weren't allowed to stop. West. This person is not connected directly to Brian, but is connected to his mentor. That is part of the other one I just did, so I'm just going to add that in next to it as one. One hand doesn't know what the other hand is doing. I'm actually going to give that a direction because there's a lot that surrounds that, and I kind of want to see the root of where it's coming from. West. Dylan got someone to change their mind about something not directly related to the murder, but surrounding factors. I believe that to be Bethany. Brian had someone helping him, but didn't know he was helping because they're connected only through the mentor or link. So someone else helped put a piece of the plan in place without knowing that that's what they were doing, and without Brian knowing that they were even doing it because the link had instructed them to do it. Southwest. Feminine energy connecting all of the pieces. This is a deeply wounded inner child. The link is likely to have parents that did not get along, although they could have put on a brave face for for the outside world, so we might not necessarily know that, but behind closed doors, the person who was the link, their parents did not get along. North. Brian was not looking for someone to do the crime with. Someone offered to help, or like the pieces kind of, it's really hard to explain because it's not like someone hired a hitman, but this is like a hit. And it's not like Brian wanted help, but help was available to him. I don't, hopefully that will make more sense as we continue to go. There's Brian the link and one other person that is working indirectly with Brian. I'm going to give that a direction. Southwest. I'm going to make a second southwest. Maybe. There we go. Okay, so we have the second southwest. The motive isn't just revenge. Somebody knew too much. Give that a direction. South. Brian wanted to kill someone else, selected the perfect victims for him. Actually, I am going to give this a direction. East. Dog was shot into the room. Brian gains access to Maddie's room through taking the, well, I thought there was something on the knife, but, taking the butt of the knife. So like rubbing the not pointy part of the knife on the door and scratching the outside of the door is how I believe he got the girls to open the door. Brian interacted with the dog. He was nice to the dog. Brian will claim he was at the home a different time, something drug related. At or by the home, east. Brian is going to be very open about some elements with the intended purpose of poking holes in pieces of the prosecution. So it may seem in some ways that he's giving a little bit more information than is needed. And when he does that, it's going to be because the intention is to poke holes in something then or later. The defense is really going to dig into anything about the car. I'm going to gray that out. Actually, I'm going to make that one yellow so we can come back to it. The defense is going to heavily question why he would return to the scene if he killed them, given his current knowledge on criminal justice. I'm going to gray that out. Some of the things we think were done accidentally or stupidly were actually done on purpose for the grand plan of getting out of this if he did get caught. I'm going to gray that out. The defense team was not in agreement on whether or not to use something about Brian's childhood in his defense. I actually am going to give that a direction, southeast. Brian has a split personality. Brian is relying on reasonable doubt to get him out of this. I am going to give that a direction just to hopefully see what he plans to use for it. Southeast. Feminine energy has an invisible crown that you cannot see. There's a trio at the root of this, but only Brian committed the act. So I am going to give a direction for the first part of this. So feminine energy has an invisible crown that you cannot see, and there's a trio at the root of this is southwest. There is something about money exchanging hands that is important. This information was given to us from Kaylee West. I'm going to end this clip and run a new one. Be right back. Part 30 on 120, some kind of conflict about money involving Dylan. Northwest. I really don't understand my computer right now. Okay. Dylan has an emotional connection to a male energy, and that male has a connection to someone else that has something to do with drugs. Northwest. I'm going to put that with that, so the money, actually no I'm not. I'm going to make them separate. Okay. Going to make another slide for Northwest if my computer wants to let me, which it doesn't. There we go. Okay, there's a group effort on their part to try and draw attention away from something. I'm going to make that yellow. Dylan is a force behind trying to cover something up. Northwest. Some money was owed or some money was due because of something that was not fairly distributed or some kind of tension or disagreement. East. Going to make a second one for East. Dylan is protecting two people, boyfriend and someone else. Northwest. Dylan knows something she is not saying because her boyfriend will get found out or exposed for something. I'm going to make that yellow. This is a piece of information that makes other pieces fit. It is something only Dylan knows that she is not being upfront about. North. Indirect connection between Bethany and Brian, getting something from the same source, but Brian would be closer to this source than her. And I'm going to give that a direction. North. Going to make a second one for North. Dylan is connected to someone who is connected to Brian through some kind of drug connection. Northeast. Bethany is connected to that same operation through Dylan, but didn't really want to be a part of it. She was either threatened or tricked in some way. West. Bethany saw something or knew something prior to this happening or when it was about to happen that she did not think was a big deal until after the fact. One of those, oh crap, that was about this type of thing. West. Interesting. Oh wait, I didn't. Okay. Police have found stuff in Brian's apartment or car that will help, but they did not find exactly what they were looking for or exactly what they were hoping to find. That's north. There will be some proof of Brian disposing of something or tampering with evidence. Actually, I'm going to make that yellow. There is some kind of evidence buried within 10 feet or 10 miles of his apartment. I'm just going to make that yellow because I want to look into that more with tarot. That piece. Hannah's death is directly connected to the underlying or surrounding factors in the Idaho case, like different branches of the same tree. North. Hannah knew or saw something that she was not supposed to. I believe we did something like this all the way up earlier, but I'm going to just give it a direction again just in case. West. Someone Hannah had an emotional bond with also had an emotional bond with Kaylee or Maddie. I am just going to gray this part out. Brent was a potential fall man or was threatened to be set up for this in some way. West. I had a vision of Brent sitting on a stool, two people talking at him, not to him or with him, but like at him. I'm going to make that gray. There may be evidence planted somewhere that could be used at the right time to create some kind of reasonable doubt. Northwest. Some kind of connection Brian has is what was dangerous for the public to know. I believe it was some kind of document, how they said that something was sealed that we couldn't know about what they found or whatever in the apartment. That is north. A team of 2 people went in to clear King Road of drugs or something else like that before the police were called. Southeast. There were drugs being sold from King Road. Gonna gray that out. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna give that one a direction. East. Bethany was planning on ditching or getting, Brian was planning on ditching or getting rid of his car somehow on the drive or when he got to PA. Bethany heard or saw something off around the time of the DoorDash delivery. Southwest. Vision, nobody wanted the DoorDash food. Actually, I'm going to give that a direction because that's still kind of a mystery. West. Okay, Bethany and Dylan saw people in the driveway on the night of the murders. I believe it was some kind of drug connection. I believe either they think now it was Brian or they know it was Brian. Northwest. Are very guilty of this crime. Brian, the link, and the accomplice. Their role was planning, setting up, and aftermath. South. Xana trusted someone she now wishes she did not trust. Southwest. All 4 victims know the person who is the link. They might not know that she is the link, but I don't believe that they knew it at the time when they initially met her. I believe that Kaylee and Maddie came into the knowing of her role, but I don't know if Ethan and Xana did. Northwest. There is a person passing private info on the 4 to an outside source, and the information that's being passed is somehow getting to the link that is northeast. Make another slide for northeast. Bethany locked herself in her room due to an uneasy or scared feeling because of something that she saw with her own eyes. East. Okay, I'm going to pause this and pick up 31 in a minute. Going into part 31, recorded on 121, Dylan knows that Bethany went along with something that she did not want to go along with, and she had to be convinced. South. I'm going to make another slide for south. This has something to do with the timing of calling police, waiting to call, or hiding something. I'm going to go back up and just add that to what we already wrote there. Okay. The delay of calling police was due to a masculine energy telling Dylan what to do or giving her instructions. Southeast. There were some people who were willing participants in the setup or aftermath of this crime. South. People are looking into someone who is connected to an accomplice. Okay, so police is, or people is meant to say police. Police are looking into someone who is connected to an accomplice. East. Someone will be arrested for a crime that doesn't relate to this investigation, but it is because of this case. Northwest. Someone else will eventually be arrested for their role in this. Southeast. There was a phone call made to clean up drugs before police came. The surviving roommates stayed in their room when this happened, and 2 people came to do that. southwest. I'm going to just add this 2 people part in here. Someone from across street, fraternity or sorority, came to do the cleanup. I believe that this person lives close enough to have the same mailman as the mailman that is responsible for King Road. So the mailman that's assigned to King Road would also be assigned to that house. Brian did see at least one of the victims while she was working, but she was very busy at the time. I'm going to gray that out. Brian was waiting to commit this act. Brian was wanting to commit the act, but someone else led him to the particular victims. East. Brian went and studied the victims at work and other places. It is possible he came in through a window, not a door. I'm going to make that yellow to go back to it later. Adam spoke to someone who spoke to Brian or got info to Brian about the conversation with Maddie, as in he did not directly speak to Brian himself. That's east. Adam is not telling the truth about the contents of the conversation that he had with Maddie that night. That's southwest. There is not a direct connection between Adam and Brian. West. Papa Rogers on Facebook is connected to Brian in some way, or someone who had a first-hand conversation with Brian. So either Brian or someone who had spoken directly to Brian in the time period after the murders, and by the time the account was, I guess, taken down or stopped posting, I'm not sure. That's east. There was a piece of motive that was sexual, but it definitely was not the main component. I'm going to gray that out. We already covered that. The posts from Brian as a teen were calls for help, and Brian thought that the dad was monitoring him and would step in and see the posts. Like, I think my dad is monitoring what I'm saying online, so I'm going to post this hoping that he helps. I'm going to gray that out. It's just an important note that I wanted to keep in there. Brent Kopaka, I forget how to say his name. He, I believe his name is going to be drugged through the mud in some way, and it has something to do with the knife, and the intention of dragging his name through the mud is to potentially create some kind of reasonable doubt. Southeast. I'm going to make a third one for southeast. Ethan and Xana were first to be attacked. I'm going to yellow this so we can come back to it because I know there's some other things in there about the order that I want to look into further. Brian ran into Ethan, then Xana, then upstairs. Going to yellow that as well. The girls upstairs heard commotion downstairs, which was the couple being attacked, but they didn't know what it was. I'm going to yellow that. Brian came into contact with the dog and shut him into a room. We covered that. Brian scratched on the outside of the girl's door to gain access, pretending to be the dog. How I said that I believe he used the end of the knife, like the not sharp side. I guess it's called the butt of the knife, maybe. I don't know. And rubbed it on the door to gain access. Xana tried to call someone or contact someone on her phone to get help. Killer didn't have the sheath attached to his pants. He had it or something similar up a tight sleeve or something. At this point, I'm not sure if it was the sheath that was left that I'm seeing or if it was just another kind of protective coating for the knife. So I'm essentially seeing him with something that he could put the knife back into bloody, that it wouldn't absorb the blood like I believe leather would. I feel like leather would like absorb instead of just keep it on there. Like I'm seeing like silicone or rubber, like something that wouldn't just be cut by the knife, but something that would contain the fluids on the knife. There was never a direct communication between Dylan and Brian. I do want to put a direction on that. East. The main drug I believe here is Molly or another similar psychedelic. I do believe that Dylan was on it that night. Maybe Bethany, I'm not sure. That's my opinion, allegedly, but that is what I believe based off of reading her energy. Yeah. So now we go on to part 32, which was on 121. The knife is somewhere mixing power and water. We covered that. There is someone at Sigma Chi that Brian could trust in some way that knew Ethan and Xana. I don't think it was a direct trust, but a once removed type of trust. That's north. Interesting. Someone at Sigma Chi gave too much info or some kind of access to someone else that could not be trusted. Southwest. Ethan had something put in his drink. We covered that. There was something was being covered up or hidden at the Sigma Chi event that night. That's south. Ethan was in some kind of disagreement with people at Sigma Chi that night. Finally getting the hang of how to say that word. So that's good. Only took 30-something videos. Okay. Ethan was not feeling well, was not feeling right before they left the party. Ethan and Xana went to sit on some kind of bench, like a park bench, before going home after leaving where they were previously. Something happened to Ethan at Sigma Chi on a porch with an overhang. I'm going to yellow that. Something about Ethan against two people at this party. Northeast. There's a lot of slides now I'm getting. Why is it not working? Okay, there we go. Oh wait, what did I say? Yeah, northeast. Okay. Somebody had access to an account of one of the victims that like in a way that the victims didn't know about. Not like, here's my password. Just like someone had access that they did not know that this person had access. That's west. I don't know what is happening today. East. It should be west. Something was affecting the cell phones on the night of the murders electronically. I'm going to go back to that. Brian's mother may speak in his defense due to mental health problems at some point in the future. I'm going to take a pause and then we will go into part 33. Part 33 on 124. Bethany went back and forth in her mind about something. She was confused or misled. I know I put something similar about this above, but I just want to see how it's worded here, how it goes in southeast. By the way, if you look over here, how it like this, how it says he ran and then I paste it over it. I just do that. I leave a couple words so that the box doesn't go away because I don't want it to take extra long to get the box back up. So if you see me deleting words like that, it's just because I left them there so that the box didn't disappear. Okay, so Queen of Wands, woman who lost her way. She does the link's work for her and has an attitude that's like, well, what can I do now? It's too late to go back. Northwest. M and K were involved in some kind of conflict, competition, argument, oppression, aggression, and or tension around the time of their death. Southeast. Ethan and Xana caused some kind of delay in the killer's plans that night. I'm going to yellow that one. I'm going to try to yellow that one. There we go. Bethany and Dylan have a connection to the link, and they had a hand in some piece of the plan, knowingly or unknowingly. For Bethany, I would say it was likely unknowingly, and for Dylan, I don't think that she knew what was going to happen. I think that she just was protecting her own interests in some way. But let's see where this falls in. Northwest. My computer never does it. It's like not letting me do anything. All right. There we go. The illegal activities played a role, and a specific type of victim is targeted. West. King of Cups, emotional attachment or investment. And this card came out with a card that had 4 wolves that were howling at a blood moon. And it was about illusion, egotism, and narcissism. So the King of Cups has that energy. East. Knight of Swords reversed, owes someone a debt, has no other choice than to pay up. This person was potentially some kind of lookout. They came out with a rider card, like I think it was a knight on a horse. This person is willfully blind. North. Brian is going to turn on the link, who is represented by the Queen of Pentacles. West. King of Swords is the killer. I'm going to gray that because we know this by now. I'm going to yellow that because I might want to give that one a direction, but not yet. Killer's original plans fell apart due to some kind of delay caused from Ethan and Xana, who in this reading was represented by the Lovers card in this situation, and that is North. Which is interesting because it's right there with the lookout. And it's in there with Ethan was in some kind of disagreement. No, Ashley, don't do it. Okay, I need to wait to look into them. My brain wants to really bad, but I'm going to make it wait. Someone was trying to silence Maddie and Kaylee. South. Someone with an emotional attachment to a victim is involved in some way in the setup or the aftermath. I believe this to be the King of Cups, but it could be more than one person. So let's see where it goes. And it's East. Ethan and Xana were the reason that the killer's plan got thrown off. We just covered that. Any help the killer had did not come from his own connections or friends. It came through the link or mentor. That's northeast. There was a lookout who had the choice of participate or death. Something really bad would happen if he or she did not help. I'm just going to highlight that for now, actually, because we just had another comment about that same accomplice or lookout. All right, part 34 on 126. Kara, Xana's mom, missed a court date around the time of the murders before or after. Going to gray that out. Anne, who is the lawyer, didn't want to represent Kara, but Kara did something that gave her some kind of out. So I need to get off this case because of this, and whatever the because of this was something that Kara did or caused. Do I want to use that as a puzzle piece? I'm not sure. I'm going to highlight it yellow. It's a maybe. We might come back and put that in. It will come to a point in trial where Anne needs to choose between ethics and walking away or resigning. Actually, I'm going to give that one a direction. Let's see. Northeast. Anne knows something about Kara from her past that Kara does not know that Anne knows. There are multiple transactions that took place around the time of the murders that are being looked into. Northwest. Brian has info on people that they don't know he has, specifically Dylan. This will not come out in the beginning of trial. Actually, yeah, let's see where that one connects. North. Purposeful conflict of interest is being set up to be used at the right time. North. Part 35 was on 128. Police have more proof than what is in the affidavit to connect Brian. The girls confided to an ex-boyfriend about something that he told them not to talk about. So the ex said, don't talk about that. The girls talked about it anyway. This has something to do with the conversation with Adam. Southeast. People knew, and by people I mean like students in that area or people in that area, knew that something bad was going to happen before it happened that night. Northeast. Someone gave police info connecting Brian to the weapon or a similar weapon. Northwest. A female has turned on Brian, and I know that we put something similar, but it was up a little while ago, so I want to just add this one in as well because there could be multiple people talking. East. There is some kind of significant money trail here that plays a role in the investigation. Southwest. Brian's car or apartment did give some kind of lead or info. Something purposely left by Brian to connect him to someone else in case of getting caught. I am going to add that. I'm going to put them as one, though. East. Okay. Did I do that wrong? Yeah, I did. Hold on one second. Brian's car or apartment did give some kind of info. And then it was supposed to be this one. Something purposely left. Brian called a sister or both sisters in the days before this happened, but they did not answer, or it's that they didn't call back or return the call. This was at nighttime, I believe. Someone was trying to calm the girls down 30 minutes prior to the 911 call, as in Bethany and Dylan. North. Someone paid and or threatened Bethany not to say anything and or to wait to call 911 because I believe she wanted to call earlier. Northwest. Northwest, where are you at? Brian is an incel. I'm going to gray that. Brian was waiting somewhere watching the house before actually going in. Adam spoke to 4 people about the info Maddie shared with him that night. One of those 4 got this information back to the link. West. There are still people who need to be silenced. Southwest. I'm going to hit pause and then we will get back into 36 just to update you. Oh, wow. Okay. So there's only 3 more, 36, 37, and 39. So 1 second. So part 36 on 131, the kids on campus knew before police did that the murders had happened. Southeast. Brent and Brian are connected through the link through some kind of financial element. East. Brent was the potential setup or fall guy connected through the link. Maddie wanted to leave the house in the year prior to this, but she couldn't because she had to keep everything normal and not draw any attention to herself. Southwest. Last year, beginning of the year, was when Maddie began to feel scared, overwhelmed, confused, misled, or something along those lines, and this was due to a female energy. East. Going to make another east. Kaylee moved to the house this year to help watch Maddie's back and vice versa. I'm going to gray that because we just covered that. Someone was keeping tabs on the girls and invading their privacy. This was a female energy that was passing on info to someone else. We covered that. A female who is... Oh, wait, you know what? I'm going to put this in. And this same female was comfortable at the King Road residence but is not a roommate. South. I'm going to put both of them together. Spying through a laptop, phone, iPad, listening device or camera. I'm going to add that in as well. Whatever was said to Adam was about an operation and not anything to do with a breakup. Southeast. Kaylee's sister was watching them. Oh, that doesn't make sense. Her sister, Kaylee's stalker, was watching them on behalf of the organization, and they wanted her to know that they were watching her because it wasn't stalking, it was intimidation. South. Brent is connected to the knife in some way. We already kind of covered that. And then I had a vision of the driver of Brian's car, and Brian did not talk at all, did not exchange a single word. There was some kind of weird code of silence. Northwest. Is that it? No. Okay, so now we 37 on 2-3. The traffic through the Idaho house had increased about 6 months prior to the murders. We covered that. Brian and Dylan are connected through the same organization. We covered that, but did we? I'm going to do that one again because I don't think I worded it like that last time. And then the murders has something to do with the importance of information and information that is being passed, information that people have. That has a big role in the murders. Northeast. Okay. There is some element of people moving, or something similar involved here, and this is what Maddie wanted to talk to someone about. North. Oh. The girls were up against something much too big for them to handle on their own. I'm gonna add that. Brian was letting his anger out in other ways before the murders. There is one person who didn't commit the murders, but who is almost just as guilty as Brian. North. Red-headed male is involved. Southeast. Bethany was intimidated or threatened or something to be silenced. We covered that. The energy after the murders in the Idaho house was that of a girlfriend who can't make any other decisions other than what her boyfriend says to do. Allegedly, my opinion. Southwest. And the last one, video 39. Or part 39 on 2-7. Enan and Brian are connected through the same organization. Enan works for the link. Southwest. Someone was getting info on Kaylee and Maddie, passing it on to an outside source, some kind of spying or invading of privacy. We covered that. Dylan is protected or watched out for in some way by someone who has some kind of influence. West. That's all we have for West. Oh, no. It's like, it's a little bit crazy how these kind of evenly distribute it in a way. At least they kind of look like that at first glance. I may be wrong, but it's not like everything's in one category. So I think that will be very helpful in figuring out How I'm thinking of this is, you know how you have a puzzle piece, right? And it has like in and out parts. I feel like this is putting together the puzzle pieces themselves, and then the puzzle pieces we put together to make the whole puzzle. That's how my brain is calculating what we're doing right now. There are law enforcement officers who are aware of and or involved with this organization. West. Okay. There was hostility towards Ethan other than just from the killer. West. Brian made his dad believe he was going to potentially be set up for the murders. Covered that. Someone turned on Brian, and Brian thinks it was the link. This was when we were talking about the sheath. So Brian thinks that the link is like, cut him loose, I'm done. But it's actually someone that's under her that is against him now. Southeast. The ex-boyfriend knows more than he's saying, but he's not involved. The ex-boyfriend that was at the bar, the one that they called Jake. I get them mixed up. You know which one I'm talking about. The one that was at the bar, he's seen on video with them, and then the one that they called 10 times. That's the one I'm referring to. I can't remember if his name is Jack or Jake, but whichever one it is. Southeast. Three people are involved, and their energy does not match up to their facial expressions. So what they're saying and conveying does not match what their face is showing. I'm going to yellow that so we can go back to it, but I'm not going to put a direction on it. Okay, that is everything. I am going to quickly copy and paste this all into a Word document. I just wanted to do it this way so that you could kind of see it coming together as it came together. I'm going to put it in a Word document. We'll review each one of them. And then I'll make all these documents available for you as well. And then we'll go into the next part as soon as possible. Be right back. Hello, and welcome. Today we are going through all of the previous Idaho readings and putting them into direction, north, south, east, west, northeast, southeast, all of that. So I finished recording this video in completion, and I'm having a little problem. My problem is this. I went back into here, okay? So this is where I have all the different clips of this video. And as you can see, this first one down here still says loading after 6 hours, but like this one is done after 5 hours, 5 hours done. And this one's 19 minutes, this one's 13 minutes. So like this one's 18, it's already done. So anyway, what I'm saying is there's some kind of corrupted file with this one. I don't know what's going on. I emailed the company. It's kind of hard to re-record something like this. But this is what I'm getting, which is nothing. See, you can see it like is not all the way finished yet, but it's stuck. I don't know what to do. So I'm going to redo the intro of this. This first clip brought us up to the 8th video. So I am not going to have video of me rolling the die for the first 8 of these. I'm still going to go through where they went and all of that, like where the pieces of the puzzle went. This is not how I wanted to start this video. I'm very frustrated, but there's literally nothing I can do because as you can see, it just is not going the rest of the way. So redoing the intro for this video. Hello. We're going to go back through the previous Idaho videos and be putting them into place. How this came to be is that all of my previous Idaho readings, I had my assistant go through and make me these little spreadsheets, which are available to you in the Dropbox file. From all of these, which is this whole folder here. All of that. From all of these, I've created this sheet on the right. This is like the most important pieces that were in here. It's not everything that was in here, but it's the most important pieces. Essentially the pieces that feel like puzzle pieces that put the bigger picture together. Again, all of this is available in the Dropbox link, which if you go to my link tree, it is the very last link at the bottom. It says Idaho Investigative Tarot, I believe, or something like that. And everything is available. This will also be available. So yeah, I put everything in this list on the right, and then we roll the directional die, north, south, east, west, north, east, southeast, all of that, and figure out which group it goes into. This reading is going to be in 3 parts. This part that we have done, and this part that we're doing now is going to essentially just be putting this part from the right into this part from the left. The next piece of this video is going to be analyzing each thing within each category with tarot energy reading. So essentially we'll go into north and we'll look at all the pieces that are together in north and use tarot to figure out how they connect and what they have to do with one another. The third part of this video will be connecting like north to south, which is essentially putting the whole puzzle together. I'm trying to think of how to do this because essentially now I'm cut off till here. So 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. They're already in place over here. There was a 19-minute video that again just doesn't want to do it. But all the other ones are done, and I know you guys really want this video, so I don't want to wait until tomorrow and just hope that it finishes uploading because it's just not looking good. I don't know what's going on. This is the first video that I recorded on this site, so maybe it's some kind of glitch, I don't know. But anyway, so this is the new beginning of this video. I'm not really sure how I can go back through and tell you where all these went, because I'm just going to do that at the end anyway. So, and I can't re-roll or anything like that. Like energy reading, once it's done, you can't redo it. It's not like I can refilm it or anything. So I'm going to now skip back to the end of the video again, and I'm going to read you through everything. But obviously you guys are going into essentially you're going to be starting now after this clip that I'm in right now. It's going to start at video 8. But the first video, part 5, 4, 2, and 1 are already in place, but you're not going to be seeing the dice roll because that is what is in this not loaded video. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, bye. Okay, so I was going to read all of these to you, but I feel like that's going to be a lot of time for things to not really make sense reading it like that. So I'm just going to leave these each up on the screen for a moment and let you read them or screenshot them, whatever. As I said, they're also going to be available in the Dropbox. I'm not going to read through them because that's going to take a long time, and you can obviously read through them. And me reading them right now is not going to help connect them in any way. It's going to be the actual energy and tarot reading that connects them. So I'm going to get my face out of the way. Maybe, okay. And I will leave this up. This is for north. There are, I believe, 2 pages for north. I'm just going to leave it long enough to where you could pause if you wanted to. This is south. This is east. This is the last little bit of east up here. And then this is west. Northeast. Northwest. I believe there's more on the second page for this one. Oh, I lied. Okay. Southeast. And then southwest, I don't know why this got all wonky, but there's southwest. This is all southwest here. Again, this will be in the Dropbox for you to access however you would like to. I am going to do the next reading very soon. We will start with north and go through each category, seeing how each piece of the puzzle in each category connects to one another. Talk to you guys soon.